So I've got some Japanese stuff to talk about because I ran into something, and it's related to AI again, for better or worse. I know some people might be tired of AI talk by now, but when I run into it in real life, there's not really much else I can do, because I feel like if nothing else, there's some safety advice I'd like people to at least know from someone who has a little bit of computer science experience and a little bit of Japanese, both specifically. But as we move into our next character, and we're on 7th curse, so though we're on a Zal, things may not be as bad. But as we actually, prepare for the timestamp and get into a Zal 7th curse character exclusive custom character, we have a lot of ally attack characters. I mean, you can use the steak knife, but there are things to talk about. And I think, online safety things in terms of, not being fooled, I guess, really, not really safety concerns. Dexterity, Charisma, second encounter, Takushisan, second mystery, knowledge. It would be nice to get our dexterity to 8, that'll depend. And we actually start with a bunch of fun, so we can go for a weapon instead. We do have the charisma check though, right? So I think I'm going to go for ally attack instead. Here's hoping that this character has fame, because I did not check their perk packs. But to get into the meat and potatoes of, well, at least the potatoes of this video, as I autopilot through this, is that I recently ran into some Japanese AI songs, and it was interesting. Now, I do have some methods of figuring out what is AI or not. I'm not going to say that I'm the most experienced in that there are professionals in that sphere for a reason, but as we have ramen, coma, mermaids, cult, and pupils, I think we just take cult immediately. Yeah, we take cult immediately. And hope we don't die. 2 items in inventory, hopefully I don't forget. I probably will, but so there are a couple things you can do. Assuming that, the easiest thing, which is not likely to happen, is that someone said, basically on this platform, I ran into, because I have things playing automatically at certain points, especially when I'm working, downtown max threat level, by the way. So I ran into a song, I was like, oh, this song sounds interesting, and then I look over, and I'm like, and so I run a few checks, and like I said, as I was supposed to say, one of the easiest checks is if the creator just outright says they created something with AI. It doesn't have to be a song. It could be images, it could be, writing, but in this case, it was a song. And I had a suspicion, and it sounded like someone actually singing, but then when I looked into it a bit more, so my other method of looking this up, and it's because I know Japanese, obviously, so I literally look up the lyrics to the song, and that's one of my, I guess we'll say, because I'm trying to give people advice, if you had, for anyone watching, if you have a language that you're native in other than English, essentially, if you ran into a song that you're like, oh, it sounds nice, but it's in a language you understand, essentially you just search up the lyrics to that song, and you should be able to find the song. And so when I didn't for this specific song, that was, I'm allegedly is AI. I feel like 80% sure, but again, if I'm not certain, I'm not going to say so. Though it is suspicious that the person, there were even comments on such videos, and yeah, it's like, この歌 AI かな? And then like someone not the channel said that it wasn't, and I was like, it feels like it is though. And then if nothing else, they did this certain thing said that something was AI, so I already had a suspicion. But when I looked up the lyrics online, I couldn't find any lyrics. I couldn't find the artist of the song, so I was like, is this AI? So I felt pretty heavy. But again, there are more things that I do just to look up certain things here and there. Also, I think we're forced to fight this because I didn't pick up the ally. But essentially, there are a couple things you can do. You can look into, who created the song. You can look for the artist to the song. You can look up the lyrics to the song, and then hopefully the person who makes the song outright says it's AI, but, in this case, I don't think they did. They said other things were made by AI, but they, the song itself wasn't. So I found that pretty interesting to run into, if anything else. But anywho, I guess this is also an open... I might as well just brace here, by the way. No, actually we don't, because we can't attack, so we just want to take this 2 reason to the face. So, yeah. Thankfully we can Desperate Prep Strong. Oh my goodness, the Army Knife is better than I thought. The reason why I say that as we focus on the game really quickly is because the Army Knife at base, if you can at base Desperate Prep Strong with a weapon, it's a pretty important threshold. And as you notice, the Army Knife is a perception weapon. and we only have 2 perception. So what this equates to is that the lower weapon needs to perform certain actions on a turn, in this case Desperate Prep Strong, the more cases in which it has in which it's useful, because otherwise I'd have to do something like this, but with 2 perception we don't even get to do that. But we thankfully get to do this. That's why I don't really mind using the shovel as much, although I think the shovel is harder to Desperate Prep Strong because it's just so slow. Number wise, you want 85 speed to get 2 in a stat and Desperate Prep Strong. Shrug! But anywho, road's closed, by the way, but thankfully, because we start with funds, that saves me a lot of doom. A lot more than one might expect. But hey. But yeah, that's to go to say, if you have anything... I mean, it's not like I know them. I'm not extremely fluent in Japanese. But if you have any questions, I'm always open to them. Again, though, I'm not Japanese, and 2, I wish I could practice Japanese more, but that's on me, really, so, among other things in life. Also, I think I just took 6, I took 6 Doom because I kept those items in inventory, so actually our Doom was a lot lower. Hopefully that doesn't ruin me, but I need to actually start remembering about that. What's our next rule, by the way? I thought it was something else. I didn't even look at it really well. Funds. So we have 5 funds. I guess we're going, well, fun, we're going to get Yakitori, but we're also going to go for a pack of cigarettes. Now we do want some funds, but if we run to out of funds, we'll trade off stamina. We have a lot of stamina at the moment. But essentially what I'm trying to say is, I'm probably not the most reliable source to ask Japanese questions to, but I can do research well enough to give you, at least, at the bare minimum, a step up until where you want to go. At least I feel, anyway. But anywho. This would be usually the moment in which I start speaking Japanese, just to kind of say, but I usually don't. If I don't practice Japanese beforehand, usually I end up, what's the exact word? Kuchigomoru kamoshirei. Like, I start mumbling or hesitating, as I am now, but -2 all, by the way. Do we just want to take this in the face? And yes, I specifically wrote Kuchigomoru. I would look up something, but I think that's the word. But again, this is what I mean when my speech. I mean, I know some key phrases here and there, but oh goodness, I don't want to eat this in the face. So the reason I'm taking -2 all damages here is so that we can go under 3 reason, so we can Desperate Prep Strong. Otherwise, if I had healed with the Mystery Yakitori, we would either have to gamble, which we could probably do with like dodge, prep, attack. I don't even know if I get that. I should have actually checked. I'll try to check next encounter. I think that's my second encounter? Why do I think it's not? Well, I'm about to go crazy. I guess we'll find out later. By the way, we have Petty Thief. Yeah, we have Petty Thief. I'm gonna check the History Club once. We're gonna grab Itotu Flame, just in case. But as we near the end of this mystery, we also want to store all of our items. So, yeah, I don't remember it all. We do get to one-shot this, thankfully. We're not with Prep Attack. Okay, so what I wanted to check is dodge. Do I get to dodge prep attack? Oh, man. Dodge is such a garbage action. Now, part of it is I have 2 perception as well, but... yeah, so that is kind of me just being biased towards dodge. But can you really blame me? Has it really ever worked out for me so well? Anywho. Let's store everything. We also start with a tiny key, so we do want to carry that tiny key around, because if we run to a school event, we can... There is a non-0% chance that we can use it for good, basically. Essentially for healing, but that requires a lot more. So, as we take burns here and move on with our lives, we take 2 doom from the other effect. Not items in inventory. Yeah, 2 funds, which is fine because out of funds exists. That's really the reason why. And for those who don't know why, so when you have 0 funds, there's a chance for the event called... I forgot to take out the empty bottle, by the way. There's a chance for the event called out of funds to appear, which all 3 options do something bad. And each option gives you, I think, 2 funds, but it's a matter of, do you want to take 5% doom, do you want to take 3 stamina damage, or do you want to take 3 reason damage? And so when you look at Azal, and Azal is penalizing you with the fund rule, when you consider the cost of getting 1 fund, which is either selling something or preparing, usually that's a lot lower than running into out of funds and just taking 3 stamina damage, 3 reason damage, or taking 5 doom. And even prepare itself is the reason why you want to... I just ran into a thing. I noticed that I didn't prepare yet, but I'm just going to take out of funds still. In this case, because I didn't prepare yet. I don't want to try to prepare. Hey, speak of the out of funds, it immediately procs, but probably should have actually traded reason there, but it's fine. But you get the point. So because when you have prepare, you can prepare for 2 doom and get 1 fund, or you can risk running to out of funds. Now there's RNG both ways, but in my experience, it's you're somewhat likely, or if you're unlucky, you're going to run to out of funds, which is going to hit you harder than 2 doom if you prepare. Now, at this point, I guess we can calculate while we're going autopiloting through this, but... oh, that's right. These are the mysterious people having accidents, quote-unquote. But, so you might be saying, well, Jordan, you have to spend 5 doom to prepare in the first place. Well, if you run to out of funds twice, you get 10% doom. So do you want to just take... do you just want to prepare 3 times and take 9% doom? Or do you want to run out of funds twice? Possibly in a run, and take 10 doom. That assumes that you keep losing funds, but thankfully that's mitigated by the fact that... Oh my goodness. I think... Can we run here? Is this a mystery? This is a mystery encounter, I think. And this is where Though to Flame comes in handy. I think. No. Because we are taking 3 stamina damage. And yeah, this is where having low strength, by the way, it really hurts. I guess we do our best. We're gonna go for the big one. If not, we'll look for a dodge play, but yeah, it's not looking good. We throw the empty bottle. That I know for sure. And I don't think we even get to desperate attack strong. No, we don't. So we gotta go for a dodge. Can we even do anything with this dodge? Depends on the... No, that's a high power level. 85, 50%? Yeah, I forgot what I was saying. If you want me to talk about what I was saying, then I will let you know. Otherwise... Also, it's funny because this is the moment in which I'm like, oh, I'll do another run if I die before the end of the second mystery. Here we are in the middle of the third mystery, and the video could end. So, there's not even good news if I hit this, because assuming I hit this, I have to do something like, well, I have to gamble on like 33%. Which is probably still better than this dodge action sequence I'm doing. Let's actually calculate. We might as well do something helpful while we're here. So 50%, so we need to hit a 42.5%. And then next turn, we can either gamble on 65% twice. That is actually lower odds than going for another dodge attack. So either way, though, the odds aren't good. Because what I'm going to do is dodge and then attack boost twice. So those are essentially, we'll even be nice and say 50%. So 50% into 50%. There's a 50% chance I dodge and hit this attack. There's a 40-something% chance I dodge and hit this attack, and the next turn I have to hit the same odd. So if we're rounding up and being like approximating towards it, there's a 50% chance of a 50% chance, which is 25% overall to get out of this. Let's find out if I even dodge.